Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on this great webinar that I'm going to be hosting today for Trafalgar's new river cruise, specifically the Best of the Danube. So, for those unfamiliar, Trafalgar is now offering river cruises. We have three destinations available, which is the Best of the Danube, which is the only itinerary that I will be highlighting today. But we do also have Best of the Rhine in Amsterdam, as well as Best of the Seine with Paris and Normandy. So if you are looking to move some of that river cruise clientele over to a value-focused brand with an attractive entry point and absolutely stunning luxury ships, you're definitely going to want to recommend Trafalgar River Cruises. So let's go ahead and jump right into it because I will be recording this session and uploading it to the YouTube page that I manage. And I will go ahead and forward everybody who registered a link, whether you attended live or didn't. So Trafalgar is bringing our typical strategic, award-winning guided vacation expertise to the river in a way that really feels approachable, immersive, and incredibly well organized. So what really stood out to me is how we were able to connect to the destination through an absolutely incredible and exclusive Be My Guest experience, which I will highlight, and all of our offshore curated excursions were very well vetted, incredibly high touch, and our trip manager and trip director just did an amazing job organizing everything for everyone. And the thing that I loved about river cruising, unlike our typical guided brands, is you don't have to participate if you do not want to. If you're the type of individual who just wants to go and sail the Danube and truly do whatever you want the whole time without experiencing any of the included experiences or optionals, you truly can. You can get off the ship as many times as you'd like to really enjoy the destination. There were multiple evenings where we stayed in port until 11 p.m., which was nice for everyone to have that opportunity to get out and explore. So I'll highlight all these unique features, but I'm telling you right now, you're absolutely going to want to recommend this river cruise to your clients. Incredibly attractive price. Not only that, we do not require full payment immediately. It's only a 10% deposit to hold the space, and final payment's not due until I believe 3 months prior to departure. So if you're looking at moving some of that great river cruise clientele over to an amazing brand that you know is going to deliver when it comes to the impact, Trafalgar River Cruises are going to be the best one to throw out there. So what really makes us different is we are culturally immersive. That same award-winning experience that you're used to with Trafalgar in terms of connecting with the destination, the people, visiting museums, doing historical and culturally enriching city tours, all of that is still built into this incredible river cruise. We do include a really moving Make Travel Matter experience on this one, and I cannot tell you how much our travel advisors who joined me on this fam loved the Be My Guest experience. The moment you walk into that beautiful courtyard in one of the old or the oldest winery in Austria, just your guests are absolutely going to fall in love with it just the way we did. So for those unfamiliar, I am J.Aguilar, Senior Sales Manager with TTC Tour Brands. I cover Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, Northern California, as well as Alaska. So if you live in that territory, I would be your best resource in terms of being your business development manager to help you grow your travel business. I was really fortunate when we did our Tour Week 3.0 to be selected to co-host with Jodine Clement, the Best of the Danube, which is a really great itinerary. We know your clients want to visit the Danube. We explored so many beautiful cities, culturally enriching experiences along the way. And for myself, it was my first time on a river cruise as well as the first time in these destinations. So the entire experience, for me at least, felt really fresh, really new, incredible, engaging. I mean, I would definitely go back in a heartbeat. So just to give you a brief overview of the itinerary, you can do it either way. We started in Passau and worked our way to Budapest, but you can start in Budapest and work your way to Passau. The majority of us booked a pre-night in Munich, and we were able to arrange a transfer that took us from the airport all the way out to our beginning port, which was in Passau. So that transfer takes about 2 hours from the Munich airport. So just keep that in mind. If you're booking flights through us, we include that transfer as part of the service. And we can always arrange pre-nights, post-nights prior to departure that would also include that transfer. Now, if you're looking at the Trafalgar Reverie, this is a luxury vessel through and through. We all felt the same way. It's definitely beautifully designed. It really kind of gives this great vibe the moment you hop on the ship. You see how well maintained it is, you see the beautiful decor, and it does kind of give you the feel of a more luxury vessel. But it is owned and operated fully through Trafalgar. So this is our new entrance into the river cruise space on the Danube. And we do have new builds on their way, and we're all super excited to know what those are going to look like. But for now, if we're talking about the ships that are currently bookable in 26 and 27, you are looking at the accommodations, and we're going to go through room by room so that you have a deep understanding of the different categories and can confidently recommend it to your clients. So this is the lowest accommodation room, which is considered classic. I absolutely love the space, by the way. This was my room on the ship. You are right at the waterline, but the window is nice and long, so you actually do get some pretty incredible vistas that I thoroughly enjoyed along the way. But this is the entry-level stateroom. So this is really for myself. I thought I had plenty of space. There's a little desk area, a little kind of breakfast nook. The television offered films and movies throughout. You can actually have, or the bathroom area is located over here on the left-hand side, and I felt it was quite spacious with beautiful marble tiles inside as well. So this is the classic room, and we do have the ability to split the beds into twin shares if necessary. Moving on to the deluxe suites, this is C. So this is the first entry-level category for the deluxe suites. As you can see, the rooms are quite spacious, and in terms of power adapters, we do have American standard adapters already installed on the ships. Your guests can bring a power adapter if they feel they need to, but truly I didn't use one the whole time. I just connected directly to the American standard, and that ended up charging my iPhone and other devices that I brought with me without any issues whatsoever. So moving on to the next category, we have the Deluxe Suites B, a little bit larger space, and you can see quite roomy. You're starting to see those beautiful French balcony suites starting to open up a little bit. These rooms don't open directly, but we do have the ability to step outside or lean outside, I should say, for our French balcony suites as well. So we do have deluxe suites that are kind of standard, slightly lower category than the French balconies. And then this is the French balcony suite. We have about 4 of them on the ship. There's room for a vanity. There's plenty of space. The beds, I will tell you, were incredibly comfortable. Did not have an issue falling asleep any single night. And then this is what the French balcony's bathroom looks like, walk-in closet, and I try to get a picture of the tub there for everybody as well. The ship itself is quite welcoming, and I will say entry and exit is quite simple. So this is the Trafalgar Reverie lobby. You are able to essentially hop on and hop off the ship just by scanning your room key. There's a little iPad device with a little chip reader, and all you do is scan your name. It says Jose's off ship, and then when you come back, boom, you scan back in, and everybody knows where you are, which is really easy to kind of navigate off ship whenever you really feel the need to. So it's no stress there, no waiting in line or anything like that. And then this is the dining room, which is also called the Colony. This is where we get to enjoy breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast is buffet style, so you'll have about an hour and a half to enjoy breakfast starting at 7:30 typically till 9 a.m. And then lunch starts typically around 12:30 to 2 p.m. with another buffet style option. There are complimentary wines and beers that are locally sourced as with lunch and dinner. And then dinner does become a 3-course prefix option, and just giving you a better view of the kind of buffet area. And our travelers love the food. No complaints. Everyone was all aces. I asked every single person what they thought about the food, and they all thoroughly enjoyed it. So in terms of quality, it's incredibly high. The staff was super attentive, remembered our names at the end of the first day. So they're really, really kind of focused on those high touch points, those personal touches that really elevate the value of the cruise to your clients. So for us, it was a pleasure being taken care of by such an amazing crew. Now, the next video is kind of cool, and you'll have to stick with me. I did a full walkthrough of the ship just to kind of give you an idea of what your guests can expect. So starting at the bow, we're on the sun deck, and as you can see, there's plenty of space, a really cool oversized chessboard that allows our guests to really enjoy chess, and I think some of them did end up playing a few matches. This leads down into the main lobby, and then I hooked a right into our beautiful piano bar. This is the lounge where the opening meetings are usually held, giving us a really quick introduction to what to expect throughout the day. There is a beautiful piano, and we do invite a pianist on board on one of the final days, and you saw a quick look at the bar. This is the office of our trip director, but also a great lounge slash quiet reading space. Public bathrooms right off the lobby, a small shop if you want to pick up some jewelry. We were sailing through part of the Wachau Valley during this section. And then I'm going down one level just to show you the hallway space. But this actually leads directly to the, oh no, I'm sorry. This is just me showing you the hallway and the decor. You can see they have classic Hollywood framed all along the hallway there. And then if you continue just one floor down, this is where you can find our shop, our little boutique to pick up some last minute jewelry. And it was quite busy on that last night. This is the fitness area, small space, but it does have a treadmill, a sit down bike, a stand up bike, and some free weights as well. And then this is the boutique shop with Swarovski crystals, Ray-Ban sunglasses, and other items your guests can pick up. Fun little game room, game space, I should say. And then breakfast lobby that always has pastries available, cookies with almond milk available for your guests as well. So you go up one floor past the main lobby there, and there is an elevator, but it's mainly there for emergencies. So just keep that in mind. It's not meant to be used daily. And then if you continue on the top floor all the way down, you'll reach the colony, which is that beautiful dining space that I mentioned. You're looking at the captain's table right there. But as you can see, plenty of room. We can accommodate all 128 passengers on this ship at the same time for dinner. And it is a boutique size. So 128 passengers is considered a smaller for a river cruise. And we absolutely loved it because it was allowing our staff to really kind of offer us that personal service and touch. And you'll find those sanitizing stations, hand sanitizing stations all over the ship as well. So moving back towards the ship lobby, I'm going to take us all the way down to the lowest level. And that's where my room was. But this right here is the most popular room on the ship. And I'm not even joking. Free laundry service. You pick up little Tide Pods from the front desk. And I was only 2 doors down from that laundry area, and it was busy nonstop. Like those machines were constantly running. There was constantly somebody sitting on that chair right there waiting for their laundry. Super cool feature to have that you can refresh your wardrobe at any time, which is really helpful. I underpacked because of it, so it was really cool. All right, so let's jump into the day by day of the ship. If you're starting in Passau, which is what I did, you're going to step aboard the beautiful Trafalgar Reverie I just highlighted, and you're going to feel welcomed. I mean, our crew does an incredible job of welcoming everybody on board. You get to meet our experience director immediately, as well as the experience manager, and they work together to really kind of coordinate all the offshore activities and even participate in some of them to vet them for themselves, which is good to know. On top of that, day two has a sailing or has us basically docked in Passau all day. Absolutely charming German village. It's often referred to as the city of three rivers. Beautiful pastel colored buildings. Their city hall is right there on the water and just so charming. It's kind of an Italian inspired architecture, picturesque, riverside town. And it really kind of invites you to slow down your pace a little bit and explore. So it really makes it a fun start to the trip. That's really kind of low pressure, low key destination. So you're not dealing with the crowds that you would find in other cities. A big optional experience that was available on day two was hiking along the Ilz River. Really recommended. I did it myself. And what you're seeing on the screen is a section of the hike where we bypass an area that was very famous for logging. It actually leads to this cave tunnel. So that's included as part of the hike. And then the water bottle that you see on the screen is for your clients to take home. We use no single-use plastics on board, which means if your guests want water, we have water refill stations on the ship. You get your little Trafalgar bottle before you go on excursions. And then even if you forgot to bring it, our driver and staff have already filled these bottles and put them in a cooler under the bus, and they'll hand them out individually to people if they're thirsty on any of the outdoor experiences that we do. This hike is considered easy in my opinion. It takes us to the top of this beautiful dam, slowly following the river on a downslope for, if not 90% of the hike, most of it. So it's a really easy pace. Our local specialist was incredibly knowledgeable. The water was crystal clear. You could see brown trout swimming in the water, and we passed these beautiful homes with immaculate gardens as well. This entire area is considered a natural conservation area, which was really cool. Abundance of bird calls, green, lush scenery everywhere, and the trail itself is just a nice single path dirt trail, so nothing too challenging if you want to hop on. And I think the total distance was a little bit over 2.5 miles. And then another optional day two, which I didn't participate in, but you get a taste of Bavaria. So this is where the culture really comes alive. You get to enjoy local beers. It's kind of a I call it pub crawl a little bit. So you get to enjoy local beers, warm pretzels. You get to enjoy live music, traditional Bavarian music. Everyone that attended this loved it, said it was a fun, interactive experience, and the local specialist, as you can see on the screen there, was quite a lively character, I was told. So it really does help our guests connect and really kind of unwind a little bit after that first, or sorry, say day two in Passau, once they're getting used to the vibe of this amazing river cruise. Now, day three has us exploring historic Linz. We're going to basically do a guided city tour that's always included as part of our tours. It's a modern cultural city. You get to explore and uncover unique characters that are shaped by the art, architecture, and its position along the Danube. On day three, you have the option of signing up, and I highly recommend it, to the Sound of Music in Salzburg. It's a really focused itinerary that has us exploring Salzburg, looking at it through the eyes of the Von Trapp family. So we stop in Mondsee, which is what you see on the screen here. This is St. Michael's Church, which, believe it or not, was featured in the movie. It's where Maria actually gets married. So it's in a beautiful lakeside town called Mondsee, not in Salzburg. And then for those of you who are familiar with me, I do these fun little minute-long fun fact videos, and I happen to film one here that I'll play right now for you. Did you know that one of the most iconic scenes in The Sound of Music wasn't filmed in Salzburg at all, but in the tiny Austrian town of Mondsee? That's right. The breathtaking Basilica of St. Michael, better known to fans as the Sound of Music Church, is where Maria walked down the aisle in that unforgettable wedding scene. But here's the fun part. In real life, the church is even more stunning than it appears on screen. Its bright yellow Baroque facade and soaring white and gold interior make it one of Austria's most photographed churches. And because the movie became a global phenomenon, Mondsee transformed from a quiet lakeside village into a beloved pilgrimage spot for film lovers from every corner of the world. And if you're sailing on Trafalgar's Best of the Danube River Cruise, you can experience it for yourself. Trafalgar's Sound of Music experience takes you into the heart of the film's story, from the hills of Salzburg to the very church where Maria said, "I do." It's a chance to step inside movie history and hum some familiar tunes as well. You get to see Austria through the eyes of the world's most famous singing family. I hope you enjoyed this fun fact. I'll see you again next week. And the church itself is absolutely stunning. We weren't able to go in there for long because they were actually having service. The day that we traveled was a very important religious holiday. But it did allow us to step inside, and it's just as immaculate as you would expect. Stunning, just like it looks in the film. And it has caused Mondsee to become a little bit of a tourist town now because of the church. All the fans from the movie come all over the place. So from our ship to Mondsee was probably like an hour-ish drive, and then there is another hour to go before we get to Salzburg. But here we got to see the featured gardens where the song Do Re Mi was filmed. They'll highlight the steps, the statues where they pose at the end. And our guide was so knowledgeable about not just Salzburg's history, but the movie, World War II history, and the importance of Salzburg. And he kind of laughed it off because there was a scene in The Sound of Music at the beginning where Maria is singing on the top of this beautiful mountain, which from Salzburg is about 40 miles out. Yet she hears the church bells clearly, comes running down the hill in 5 minutes. So he jokes that she must be in incredibly good shape. But it is a really fun way to visit Salzburg, tying that into The Sound of Music. He's really good about playing some of the songs on the the coach itself. So a lot of people kind of got into it. From there, we actually continued on day four. And what I absolutely love about river cruising is you fall asleep and you wake up in the new destination, which is really fun. The Wachau Valley is agriculturally probably the most important region in all of Europe. Very rich agricultural land. I didn't know this at the time, but most, if not all, of the apricots in the world are grown here. And so it's a huge, huge commodity crop for the Wachau Valley. On top of that, they have these absolutely stunning wineries and vineyards. I grew up in the Northern California, area, very familiar with the Napa region, and it gave me a lot of those vibes of like beautiful valleys with rivers running right through the center, rich agricultural land. So we absolutely loved it. And then this is the experience that not only differentiates Trafalgar from every single other river cruise operator in the world, it was probably, if not the highlight of the trip, an incredibly high point. Everybody that I talked to that experienced to be my guest loved it, fell in love with Christina, who you see on the screen. She and her family, the Sauce family, have managed Weingut Nickelhof, which is the oldest winery in all of Austria, for generations. And they started growing wine biodynamically. For those unfamiliar, means basically incredibly high standards, higher than organic, and essentially growing and using the natural elements in the area to grow their wines without pesticides, without chemicals, using bat hotels to capture insects at night, using, bird's nests to kind of get rid of the rodent issues. So it's incredible to see they kind of pioneered this. And by the way, she's an award-winning author who currently has one of the best-selling cookbooks in the world. So I picked one up as a gift for one of our advisors on this tour. So it was an incredible visit. The moment you step into their property, this is what greets you. This is where we dine, in a beautiful outdoor space underneath the shade of a gorgeous linden tree that was blooming at full bloom when we were there. So for us, this was definitely a huge, huge highlight. The Be My Guest experience before we dine includes a really detailed tour of the wine cellar. And as you can see, those barrels are enormous. She named them after her children. And by the way, her kids are involved in helping her manage the winery as well. But she is the head honcho, which was really fun because she's so charismatic, charming, funny, and she really did a great job inviting us all into her home. So absolutely thrilled to share this experience with you guys. I promise you, highlight this Be My Guest to your clients as a big part of why they should book this trip, and they are gonna love it, guaranteed. Now, it's not for everyone, but just know there are free bike rentals on our ships, and I tested them. Very high quality bicycles, super easy to manipulate for any height, any shape. The seat, you unclick it, lift it, drop it, whatever you're comfortable doing. So for myself being 6'2", I was able to ride these bikes, no issues whatsoever, just making some quick adjustments. The day we returned from Spitz after doing a really nice historic city tour, we ended up having a lot of free time afterwards. I mean, we were basically in port for the rest of the evening and we weren't going to depart until 10. So I grabbed one of the rental bikes, and all along the Danube, just not this section, there are beautiful biking trails that are incredibly well maintained. And you're going through some of the richest green space that the country has to offer. So I hopped on this trail that's right next to the Danube and took it from our ship all the way to the Milk Abbey, which is one of the most iconic abbeys in all of Austria. You can only do this or see this if you do what I did and bike there. We do pass it at one point on the Danube, but if you want this close-up view, I won't sugarcoat it. It was a 6.5 mile bike ride, but on a bike, it's not as intense as like walking it or anything like that. Uninterrupted trail too, so there's really no roads to cross or anything like that, so incredibly safe. And then another cool little castle that I just happened to pass through on my way to the Milk Abbey, which is Sternstein Castle, and it's a beautiful little chateau that's perched above the Danube River. Once it was captured by Richard the Lionheart, I believe, at some point. And then this is another really cool shot that I was able to take from the bike trail, looking at our ship where we're in port right next to Spitz there. And you can see the town is not too far away. So it was an incredible day, highlighted by the Be My Guest. And then I was able to kind of experience it for myself doing this really fun sunset bike ride. Now, day 5 has us visiting Vienna, which I'm sure many of you know is such a large, beautiful city, historically just, I mean, and culturally, all the architectural wonders in this city are just impeccable. We had time to do a nice guided city tour through the main Old Town area. What you're looking at are some of the immaculate gardens that kind of lead towards their parliamentary house. But what was really cool about this experience is we did an optional called The Mythos of Mozart. Because Vienna was Mozart's home, he actually lived in several apartments around the old Vienna area. And this museum that's dedicated to Mozart was actually once an apartment that Mozart used to live in. So the connection to the actual artist is incredible enough. But this is a multi-sensorial interactive experience that's also incredibly touching. It actually begins with Mozart's death. You walk into this really dark room with only lit candles that are all LED candles for safety. And then a TV turns on, and you see Mozart at his desk, kind of working on one of his great operas. And then he goes to bed, takes a tincture. All of a sudden, everything in the room turns off. All the candles shut down. You don't hear anything. And then the next words you hear are his son going, Papa, Papa. And so it's a very emotional experience that really moved us all. The lights come back on. Mozart's music starts to blast. I mean, it was such an incredible experience. And then one of the rooms, there's like five different rooms you walk through. You go to what's called like Mozart's brain. And I have a short video here to highlight that for you. Really cool experience. So what you're doing in that room is you're walking around touching all these like sensors, and when enough people touch the sensors, it's like you're lighting up Mozart's brain, and all of the music that he's created over the years just starts playing with like the images that it kind of matches on along the walls there. So super fun, immersive experience. I highly recommend. There is an option to do the Cinque tasting, which I wasn't able to do. And just know that there are going to be days where it's one or the other. You absolutely cannot sign up for all of the experiences. A, some of them can accommodate the entire ship. B, some of them just conflict time-wise. So you do have to be picky and choosy in terms of which ones you do or maybe want to skip. So I had never been to the Schönbrunn Palace before and absolutely wanted to. So this is another fun optional experience that takes us about 35 minutes from the ship to get there. Really beautiful palace that was essentially Maria Theresa's personal decor, that she just created this absolutely stunning Baroque palace. And really she inherited it from from Emperor Charles VI, but she really was the one that envisioned Schönbrunn as really the answer to Austria's Versailles. It really does rival Versailles in terms of that opulence, that noble kind of history that you imagine during that time period. And it really does come to life when you're there. The rooms are just absolutely stunning, all filled with history, beautiful Baroque paintings, unique styles to each room as well. So a lot of people think of the main palace, or sorry, the main hosting room, but there are so many rooms that we visit. And by the way, the palace itself has something along the lines of like 1,700 rooms, and the public only has access to 50 of them. So they're really only showing us a small portion of it. This is the main lobby area when you first arrive into Schönbrunn. I'm just showing you a close-up of the roof, but this actually expands to 3 more murals in this entire space. But just look at the level of detail, the decor. Maria Theresa's family history comes to life as you kind of go through the individual rooms, and those opulent gardens are just right outside. It's also a huge estate, by the way. You can climb up this little hill to see a beautiful kind of Romanesque style feature with a kind of a reflection pool looking down at the entire grounds as well as the palace from the back. Another full day in Vienna, because after we did the Mozart experience, after we did the Schönbrunn visit, we had the option to sign up for what was called Strauss, or experience the music of Strauss and Mozart. This was a beautiful semi-private experience. So it was just us and a few other groups, but it was such a small, intimate space. And another historical touch, this is where Johann Strauss II, the father of this clan of musical geniuses, purchased this hall when he was younger and created this culturally enriching concert hall right in the heart of Vienna. So the theater itself is tied directly to the Strauss family. And once again, they've incorporated this beautiful projection that really makes it kind of interactive as the band is playing. A really fantastic opera singer comes out at one point to sing some of those songs. And I have just a short little 19-second sample for you guys to see what it was like. There's also a museum attached off the main room where you can interact with a lot of the displays, gives you history of the family, their big, the songs they've composed throughout the years. Absolutely great experience. It's optional. I tell everybody sign up for it. It was really right along the lines of that. Be my guest. Really great. All right, moving into Bratislava. So, for those unfamiliar with Bratislava, it is right on the border of the Czech Republic. This was unfortunately ground zero when the Iron Curtain fell. So, it was an important day for us because it's also a day that we're going to remember because of our Make Travel Matter experience. Our local specialist, I mean, I don't know how he can't add historian to his title, but he should be because he knew so much of the downfall of democracy essentially in Bratislava to the takeover of the communist rule, tying all of that into World War II and kind of what happened in the region that led to that. Firsthand stories from his own family, who unfortunately were also ones protecting the Iron Curtain. But it was a very stark lesson in what can happen when democracies let these fascist dictator types really take over a destination. One day you're free to travel anywhere you want. The next day your passport is canceled. You're essentially on lock. Freedom of speech is no longer a thing. And essentially they took it to the next level where they actually held trials for those that just weren't conforming with the rules. And unfortunately, a lot of those people were executed. So the thing that I loved the most about this experience, not only the way the specialist brought it to life, but where we did it. We were in these beautiful park settings. This right here, we're on a bridge overlooking the Danube. He had all of these really high resolution images from the time period, literally pointing to us and going, this is where this happened, that's where this happened. And it was an incredibly moving way to learn about Bratislava. I didn't know this, but before they fell under the control of the Iron Curtain and communism, they were considered one of the fastest growing economies. There's a brand of sneaker, and I can't recall the name of it, but at one point it was the most popular sneaker in the world, and it was being made here. So they were like a master of industry at one point. Unfortunately, when the communist or Soviet influence took over, government started regulating movement, speech, employment, even personal relationships. One of the most powerful tools that they used was pretty much restricting everybody the basic freedoms that most citizens have, restricting your passport travel, revoked or not issuing them at all. Basically, that prevents you from ever being able to leave the country. For others, it was just impossible. Those that tried to defect to escape to the West faced really severe consequences if they were captured. Trials were often controlled by the state with outcomes that reflected political priorities rather than impartial justice. And then individuals that were accused of defection or dissent were sometimes imprisoned for long periods and in certain cases subjected to incredibly harsh penalties. So the government knew what they wanted to do was create this climate of fear, but it was also one filmed with these motivational stories of quiet resistance, of how people adapted in different ways. Some complied, focusing on survival. Others really resisted in subtle forms, sharing information, preserving culture, or really holding on to those democratic beliefs. So it really is an impactful experience, which is what makes us different than a lot of the other river cruise companies out there. Is we want your guests to truly immerse themselves in the history and culture of the destinations we visit, and this experience did that incredibly well. Another fun optional that you can participate in this day is hike to the Bratislava Castle. Now, it's labeled as a hike. I would call it more of a walk because you are just essentially crossing through the city, the old town area. It is a bit of an elevation gain, but nothing that I would deem too difficult. But for myself, it definitely felt like a moderate, challenging hike, only about 2.5 miles from the ship. So we actually walked from the ship to Bratislava Castle. Striking presence on the city. I mean, it really does sit on top of a hill. has those beautiful, immaculate gardens that a lot of these chateaus are known for in the area, and you get to enjoy this incredible view of Bratislava once you get to the tippy top. So for us, it was another great way to get out there and explore. And of course, you end up doing a lot of walking when you're on vacation in Europe, truly, because you want to see everything, right? Now, I ended up having some free time the next day in Budapest, which was my first time there. This view I was able to capture from the top of this beautiful monument. I think it was called the Freedom Monument. And basically, it overlooks both sides of the river, Buda and Pest. Not included as part of our tour, but it was like a $7 Uber ride from the ship. So it was really well positioned. So I wanted to check it out. We did a really fun Budapest city tour that was included, where we visited this gorgeous cathedral with these immaculate tiles. On top of that, that same day, for those that wanted to do the city tour of Budapest, we had an optional visit to discover Budapest Jewish history that does take up the afternoon. I opted to just have some free time to explore on my own, and that's where I got that image of that beautiful shot over the river there. So I don't have a lot of information about the Jewish history experience, but my colleague Jodine did participate in it and loved it, thought it was quite moving. And then once you get back onto the ship that evening, you want to be back on board around 5-ish at the latest because you do have to wait as other ships kind of depart so that we can get closer to the main port. Beyond that, we start setting sail after dinner, and this is your view from the top deck. We sail right past the parliamentary building in Budapest as it lights up into the night sky, turning the entire Danube this beautiful auburn color. We were the only ship sailing during this time, by the way, so we kind of had the river area all to ourselves, which was really unique. But that concludes that wonderful day in Budapest. I had a super early flight the next day, but it was an incredible trip, start to finish. Would highly encourage you all the next time, and I would challenge all 20 of you here right now. The next time somebody comes in either asking for a river cruise or asking for the Danube, please highlight this itinerary, let them know everything we talked about here today, and you will benefit from recommending it because we are doing an amazing incentive for all advisors right now. You can earn $150 per passenger if you are comfortable enough to recommend our river cruises to your clients, which means the Danube, the Rhine, and the Seine River. So any booking on any river cruise earns you that incentive. And for the advisors who book the most, we're going to throw an air inclusive spot on Trafalgar's new ship, which is called the Dreamer. And it is inaugural sailing is for 2027. So you are going to have that opportunity to be able to experience it yourself simply by recommending it to your clients. Now, I am going to say thank you. And for those that are looking to learn more about the river cruising, if you haven't already, please register on our travel advisor portal, which is agents.ttc.com/login. That concludes my presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen, or actually I'll leave that up, but I'm going to jump over into the chat. Feel free to throw any questions that you have. Happy to answer those for you. All right, and it looks like Veronica loved this video. Thanks so much, Veronica. I appreciate it. So cool. Thank you, Sherry. Jessica, when docking, is the Reverie docks alone or do you have to walk through other ship to get to the Reverie? Only in Budapest and Linz. Everywhere else, it seemed like we were basically right off the main river area. But in Budapest, for sure, there was, I think, 2 ships we had to walk through, but it was not challenging at all. And then in Linz as well, we had 1 ship that we had to walk through. E-bike or pedal? These are just classic bicycles, so you do pedal them. They're not e-bikes. And super user friendly. So very easy to navigate, very easy to kind of explore those. Great. And as I mentioned, it wasn't just the section I explored. Pretty much the entire Danube has this incredible river trail system that's perfect for biking. So your guests can really explore everywhere. Oh, thank you, Lori. I'm glad you enjoyed it. You're welcome, Joanne. Amazing presentation. Thank you, Shuri. I appreciate it. Yeah, Tim, I will definitely follow up with you. I'm so glad you're mentioning groups. For those interested in growing your group business, we can definitely support that with a Trafalgar River Cruise. Full charters are available if you're interested. And I believe 4 rooms gets you a free spot. So it's a really easy entry point for yourselves to earn a free spot and travel on these river cruises for yourself to really kind of experience and learn and love the brand the way I did. All right, I think that's everything. You're welcome, Gia. Thank you, Jessica. My pleasure. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get 20 minutes back in your day, okay? Thank you again, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.